Cypress-Fairbanks Independent School District's Board of Trustee Candidate Forum for 2013. My name is Jason Culpepper, and I'm publisher for Community Impact Newspaper. My newspaper believes in the importance of providing unbiased, relevant information, such as the school district is providing you with tonight. Through this candidate forum, I will serve as the moderator for tonight's forum, having graduated from Jersey Village High School and currently serving as trustee for the Cypher Educational Foundation. It truly is an honor to be here tonight. Our students receive an incredible education thanks to the faculty and staff within our district, but also due to the leadership from the Board of Trustees. Tonight's forum will provide each candidate an opportunity to introduce themselves and field questions from the audience. It is our hope that this forum allows each candidate to voice their positions and reasons for pursuing a place on the school board, as well as give the public a chance to hear the candidates respond to questions of importance to the community. I would like to take this opportunity to mention that this forum is currently being broadcast live tonight over Channel 16 and will be rebroadcast through Election Day. The forum will also be available on Cypher TV Online, which can be found at www.cfisd.net. Tonight's process will be conducted as follows. The candidates will be given 3 minutes to simply introduce themselves and share any information they feel the community should know about their candidacy. Once we begin the question and answer portion of the forum, each candidate will have 1 minute to answer each question. Time will be kept by Donna Blowen, Secretary to the Superintendent, as well as Secretary to the Board of Trustees. You will notice the timer in front of the tables. This timer will be programmed to warn you when you have 30 seconds remaining in your introduction and when you have 15 seconds remaining in your response to a question. You will not be cut off in the middle of a sentence or thought, but please wrap up your statement within the next few seconds. If a question is directed to a particular candidate, that candidate will have 1 minute to respond. Any candidate may offer a response to the question if they wish. I will alternate who answers first from question to question. The election will be held jointly with this year's general election. Election Day is Tuesday, November 5th, and the polls will be open from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Early voting takes place from October 21st to November 1st. Times and locations of early voting may be obtained by visiting www.harrisvotes.com. You can also access Election Day voting sites at this website. I want to remind the audience that if you would like to ask a question, please raise your hand and someone will bring you a question form. Before I introduce the candidates, this is a reminder to please silence your cell phones. At this time, I would like to introduce the candidates as they will appear on the ballot. For position 5, Dr. John Ogletree, Jr. For position 6, Don Ryan and Dr. Sheikh Ahmed. For position 7, Bob Covey. Are there any questions from the candidates before we begin? Okay. Seeing none, let's get started. We'll start with opening remarks from Mr. Ogletree.
Thank you. I count it a privilege to have served as a school board member in this great district 3 terms. I thank the citizens who have selected me to serve 3 terms, and it has been an honor to be an advocate for our children in this district. I have had one goal in mind, and that is to make sure that each student receive a quality education. And I have been happy to serve with superintendents and board members who have that same goal in mind. My wife taught in this district and was a counselor in the district, and I've had 4 children to graduate from this district, and now I have 3 grandchildren in this district, soon to have 5. And I am happy with the progress of the Cypher Independent School District. Recently, I attended and took Leadership TASB to improve my skills as a board member. And the reason I am in this race again is because my passion for students, my passion for public education, my passion to work in a community such as Cypher has not diminished at all. And I appreciate the support, and I count it an honor and a privilege to serve.
Good evening. I'm excited about tonight. But before I begin, Jason, thank you for moderating. And I do want to publicly thank Community Impact for the coverage you provide for our district. We really appreciate it. My name is Don Ryan. I'm running for re-election for position 6 on the Cypher School Board. I was raised in this community in Enchanted Valley. I attended Lampkin, Arnold, and then I graduated from Cypher High School in 1981. After I graduated from Cypher, I went to North Texas State University, where I really had what I count as 2 major accomplishments. The first one was I graduated in 4 years, actually. And the second and the most impressive is that's where I met my wife, Julie. We've been married for 27 years. We have 3 children. Our oldest, Wesley, graduated from Cypher High School in 2009, and then he graduated in August from Texas A&M University with honors and is currently working in San Antonio. Our daughter, Allison, graduated from Cypher in 2012, and she's currently in her 2nd year at Texas A&M, which officially makes us Aggies by checkbook. Our youngest son, Tanner, is a freshman at Cypher High School. First and foremost, and John kind of hinted to this, it has been a privilege and an honor to serve the students, the employees, and the community members these past 13 years. Our district is excelling at every level. Great things are going on. Our students are currently performing at the highest rate in the history of our district. The reason we're having that success is due to the teachers, support personnel, and administration that we have in place. And that is why I, along with the rest of the board, voted unanimously for the most recent pay raise that was presented to us from the administration. However, make no mistake, as great as things are going, we are still going to have challenges that we have to face as a district. And I truly believe that my years of experience on the board will help us meet those challenges and continue to excel. I really, all along, have had one central goal, and that is I want to provide an environment that will allow every student and every employee to reach their full potential. I still look at every issue and ask 2 questions. Number 1, is the decision I'm making going to have a positive impact on our students? And number 2 is it fiscally responsible for our taxpayers? Our theme this year is find a way. I hope by the end of the night you find a way to support me. Thank you.
Mr. Arnold.
I want to be happy, but I won't be happy till I make you happy too. Life's worth living when we are more caring, when we are more sharing, when we are more giving. Why can't I give some to you? It is time to give back. I must praise the bridge that carried me over. When I came from Bangladesh in 1984, the Cypress-Fairbanks ISD faculty and staff became my surrogate parents, guiding me to the long and demanding journey. Some of them are sitting in this room today. With them, I found a new home away from home and a new family who inspired me to become an educator in life, receiving a Doctor of Education in Executive Leadership, a Master of Education in School Administration, and a Bachelor of Science in Biochemical and Biophysical Sciences. Additionally, I have also attained the Superintendent Certificate EC-12, Principal Certificate from EC-12, Highly Qualified Teacher Certificate in Mathematics and Science in the state of Texas. It takes a village to raise a child. That's what Mr. Alan Meek, former principal at George Village High School, used to say. It takes a village to raise a child. I have been molded into becoming the person who I am because of the wonderful people of this district. We can never give enough for all that we receive from our surroundings. Back in 1990, Cypher ISD equipped me with the tools to attend the United States Coast Guard Academy. To continue my post-secondary education, I was honored with scholarship money totaling over $250,000, a gift that every child in the district has the potential of earning. Cypher ISD has a tradition of producing excellence, with my alma maters graduating my own nephews and nieces and little sisters as physicians, attorneys, and engineers, and educators, and dentists. We need to better equip each child, especially those who are less fortunate, with the ability to succeed and accomplish their dreams. We need to inform the youngest of our schools of the dreams and possibilities this great nation can give them. Give each child and family hope for happiness. How can I best serve a mother who gave me a place and a purpose in this great society? Well, the board lacks a volunteer trustee who is a certified educational administrator in the state of Texas. The board members are all distinguished individuals, and I would be honored to be with the company of outstanding people. It has been brought to my attention the board is missing a piece of the puzzle. It needs the viewpoint of a certified educational administrator who has been in education every step of the process, from teacher to an administrator. I have been a distinguished teacher, a coach, a department chair, and a school-level administrator, and a superintendent in both public and private school system. I've also served as a board member for my neighborhood and preschool system. I like to do the right thing the right way. It is all about serving all children of this district. Every child counts. The law says no child left behind. Thank you so much. I am Dr. Sheikh Ahmed, and I count on your votes.
Thank you. Mr.
Thank
Covey?
you.
I also want to thank you, Jason, for doing this for us tonight. And good evening, and thank y'all for taking your valuable time to come here and listen to the candidates as we answer questions that you feel are most important to Cypress-Fairbanks ISD. For those of you that know me, you might as well just turn off your sound system, because I'm going to reintroduce myself one more time. My name's Bob Covey, and I've been married to my wonderful wife and partner in life, Kathleen, for over 40 years. Kathleen is a retired teacher with Cypher ISD and served for almost 30 years. We're the proud parents of 3 sons who are all graduates and recipients of an excellent education in Cypher. They, with their wives, and one of the wives is also a graduate, are degreed university graduates, are successfully employed, homeowners, taxpayers, and parents of 5 amazing grandchildren. And I don't feel I'm being overly objective about that. All of our grandchildren are living in the Cypher area, and we actually have one grandson that's in the 1st grade. I've been active in Cypher for the past 28 years. I was the room dad, for Kathleen was a teacher and could not do it. I was a mentor, reader, chaperone on field trips, PTO, volunteer, president of the All Athletic Booster Club, president of the Choral Booster Club, Project Prom, Project Graduation, which I think the principal at that time thought it was safer if I made sure my kids did okay, 2001 Bond Committee, and the 2004 Bond Committee. Since being elected, I have actively participated in the Texas Association of School Boards, TASB Legislative Committee, Leadership TASB, and have presented seminars at TASB and the National School Board meeting. I also testified in front of the Special Committee on Education in Austin. Right now, I'm serving on the Board of Directors for the Gulf Coast Area Association of School Boards. This is the 4th time that I will run. The first time was to fill a position for 1 year, and then I ran again. And so this is actually the 3rd full term that I'll be seeking. I'm also active on 3 boards at Texas State University, which includes the College of Education Board of Advisors. Education was the degree that I completed, but business has been my workplace for over 35 years, and I'm now retired. Education is, and will always be part of the passion of my life. I'm very proud of this district, its reputation for excellence. I am very proud of the teachers, the support staff, administration, cafeteria workers, bus drivers, custodial workers. All are teaching our students. I am very proud of the diversity that's taken place in this district. The simple fact that over 100 languages and dialects are spoken is an indication that our students can and will be global leaders. No one has to tell me Cy-Fair is number one. I see it each and every day. Thank you.
All right, let's begin the question and answer portion of tonight's forum. This first question is for all of you. We will start with Mr. Ogletree, and most of you have already touched on this in your introduction, so feel free to add to this. What qualifies you to be a board member?
Well, I would answer that first by being a citizen of this community with an intense interest in public education and for quality education. I have just quite a love for public education. My mother was a school teacher. My wife, Evelyn, who 40 years has taught in the district as well as was a school counselor in the district. Prior to running for my first race as a school board member, I also served on one of the bond task force there, and I just grew a real strong passion for education. I'm a pastor in the community, and I see my role as a school board member as an extension of my calling. I see it as a missional effort to touch more children than my 4 children. By the way, my 4 children have graduated from college, 2 of them with master's degrees. I see it as an extension beyond serving the children that are at my church. My focus is upon the whole student population of this district. And this district is now approaching 112,000 students, projected to be 128,000 by the year 2022. And I'm just privileged to be able to serve.
Mr. Ryan.
Other than the legal requirements, I really think that you have to have a passion for public education. I truly believe that public education is the backbone of our society. Our state currently has 5 million children in public education, and make no doubt about it, they're the future of our country. I also think that you have to be a team player. You have to be open. You have to be willing to build consensus. 13 years of experience serving on the school board does somewhat qualify you for future service, especially when you've served on boards that have been extremely functional and boards that have been extremely dysfunctional. I've had the ability to serve on both of those. And in both of those instances, I just made sure that I put the students first and didn't worry about what the dysfunctional board members were doing. I made sure we put students first in everything we did. Thank you.
Mr. Ahmed.
The fate of a nation depends on how well we prepare the children of that nation, the students of that nation. But the nature of my degrees and the jobs that I have had in education, I am bound to be an advocate for every child. So I am an advocate for every child. So I learned that there's about 130,000 students, 9th graders in Texas, who do not graduate in 4 years. For the nation, that's 1.2 million. That's not a disaster, that's a catastrophe. And my concern is where do we stand in this district with those kind of numbers? Every child is the concern. So I hope I'll be able to make the Cy-Fair district be the pioneer in helping flourish those bottom children, the bottom 30% of the schools. It's a great district. It's going to only get better.
Mr. Covey.
There is a definite passion that I have, and one of the things that I feel like I bring is that I do have a degree in education, and although I only taught for 3 years, I've been married to a teacher for quite a long time, and teachers don't stop teaching when they walk out of the classroom. They come home and teach at home also. So I've been a student for the past 40 years. Just thought I would share that with you. I'll also tell you that coming from the perspective of being in business, I bring that as a background into the education process, being a parent, being a volunteer within this district, and I will always and constantly support the teachers and the support staff and the administrators that work in our district, because they have years ago started a reputation in this district to make it excellent, and it has continued, and there's been mega changes and challenges, but it continues to go that way. I totally believe that being part of this is giving back to the community that gave you so much.
Next question. In May, Cypher ISD was recognized as the #1 school district in the state for academic and financial performance by the Education Resource Group. Please comment on what this award means and how you believe this impacts our district going forward. Mr. Ryan.
I think it's an amazing award, considering it wasn't an award that we sought out. It's an award that they sought out what we were doing. I think it's a direct reflection on the job that our administration has done. If you take Stuart Snow and his team, because a lot of it dealt with finance, but then you drill down into the campus level and look what we're doing at that level to achieve academic success. What really makes it more impressive is that we've done more with less. When you look at the cuts that we've had to make over the last 5 years, when we had to cut $120 million from our budget, I would challenge any other district in the nation. When you have to gut your district that much and you still achieve what we've achieved, it's amazing. And I can't wait to see what we achieve going forward now that we're starting to get more funds and be able to replace teachers in the classroom. I think greatness is still on the horizon. Thank you.
Mr. Ahmed.
In education, good is not enough if it can be better. Of course, accomplishments are great. It helps us go onward and upward. But there's always, I learned that even though 90% passed the class, there's always that 10% who did not pass. There's always the 10% that needs to do, who needs to do better. So yes, all the accomplishments are great, but in reality, there are more students who are there, and they are usually economically disadvantaged students. If you look at that TEA website, it tells you where they're coming from pretty much. So yes, it's great accomplishments, but we have work to do. You can never settle in education. That's what they taught me at U of H when I was doing my doctorate degree. You just cannot settle. There's always room for improvement. Thank you.
I truly believe that Cypher has never rested on their laurels, and even though that is a wonderful award that has been given to us, we have been in the top 10 over the past 4 or 5 years, and that's never made us stop trying to pursue excellence in education. So even though it's a great achievement, I also see it as a starting point for doing even bigger and better things. And that's what I see that this district is basically cornerstone on, is always trying to improve on what they have done. And I see that throughout our district. You see that when you walk into a classroom and you watch teachers actually sitting there and participating with students, not necessarily sitting in rows and rows of desks, but sometimes sitting on the floor, sometimes standing and walking around, but you see amazing, innovative teaching going on in our classroom.
Mr. Ogletree.
I would answer that by saying that we are very proud of that achievement. The reason why we should be is because education is a trust. Our parents entrust their children to go into our classrooms and to be taught by professional teachers who believe in them. and their students and their children, but also the citizens of this community trust us with the proper use of their tax dollars. So we have those two things. We have the children, but also they count on us to manage properly, to make sure that we are efficient as well as effective. So I am proud of our district and Stuart and all of his team, and I think we should be happy with that.
As a board member, what will be your role as part of implementing House Bill 5, which established new graduation requirements and new endorsements? Mr. Ahmed?
Well, first we have to see what is available, set priorities, and we must set priorities, and that takes teamwork and team effort and help the superintendent support in his vision, in his goals to implement how he wants to do that. So I'll always have the support for the superintendent, and we have a great team.
Mr. Covey?
It is not our job as a board to make those decisions day to day, and we say this at each of our meetings. It is our job as a board to perform governance, and it is our job as a board to hold the superintendent and the district accountable to make sure that they are achieving the goals that we have set. The House Bill 5 is an excellent and a very important piece of legislation, and I've heard it said that it's the most amazing piece of legislation for education in many, many years, and it's obvious. To go from 15 end-of-course exams to 5 is just absolutely phenomenal, and I know there's a heaving sigh of relief on a lot of teachers, but we also have other things that we have to address. And I believe right now the State Board of Education still hasn't decided exactly how everything's to be implemented. So we're still on a learning curve.
Mr. Ogletree?
I agree with Bob. We will have to wait to see what the State Board of Education, how they suggest that House Bill 5 is implemented. And that will be in the hands of our administration, Dr. Henry and his team. And so we will proceed after the state has figured out how it should be implemented.
Well, since I'm last, I'm pretty much going to echo what Bob and John said. I was thrilled with House Bill 5. I don't know if a lot of you know, House Bill 5 was actually written by a former board member, and so that was nice to see when it came through, especially the end-of-course exams. Having two of my children that have gone through the 15 and then one left to go through the 5, I'm thrilled. I'm absolutely thrilled as a parent and also as a board member. But Bob echoed on this quite a bit. You know, there's a line that we, as a board, that you don't want to cross, and that is, as a board member, we're not involved in the day-to-day operations of the district. It's not our job. We're not involved to tell the district, this is the curriculum I want you to do. This is how I want you to implement that. We hired Dr. Henry. We hold him accountable. We review the data, and we base our decisions on that. So that's where I stand on the implementation of House Bill 5.
Next question. Recent events have placed a higher scrutiny on safety and security on our public school campuses. As a member of the Board of Trustees, what would you do to ensure the safety of our kids? Mr. Covey.
I think we've been very fortunate in that prior to some of these horrendous events happening in schools, we were led by our administration to implement a brand new police force within our district. And in my visiting to different facilities and schools, I have found a real relief there that we do have our own police force, and it's obvious that we can't just sit here. If we're growing with students, we're going to have to grow the police force. So I'm very, very pleased with that. I've also been able to see what happens in a shutdown situation in a school due to a potential bank robbery that was going on 10 or 12 blocks away. And I was amazed at how fast the teachers, without drawing real attention to it, moved the kids toward the middle of the class and got them away from windows, and everything went into lockdown. So I'm very proud of what our teachers do without causing any overdo emotions with our kids.
Quality education cannot take place without safety. And I am too happy that we now have our own police force because they are a part of the community. They're not outside contractual hires, and they can establish good working relationships with our local campuses. I have that as a priority. I ask questions whenever I can of Chief Bragg and others dealing with safety and making sure that our schools are safe. When I visit the school, I ask the principals about safety needs and their entrance and the other things. That is a number one priority.
Mr. Ryan.
I was also part of the board that we implemented the police department when the administration recommended it to us. Dr. Henry states publicly all the time that his number one concern is school safety. And it's not just when you talk about school safety, it's not just child safety, it's also employee safety, personnel safety. I mean, it's a proven fact that when a child is in a safe learning environment, they perform better. An employee in a safe learning environment performs better. Today I had a school visit to Labai Middle School. And in order to get in the front door of Labai Middle School, or any door, there's a little camera, you buzz a button, and those doors do not open unless you're expected to come in, and then you're funneled straight into the office. We're doing great things in school safety. We need to continue to focus on school safety and use current technology to make it even better. Thank you.
Mr. Ahmed.
Safe and civil campus is the number one priority. We decide whether an activity will take place or not based on the safety that is concerning the situation. Every faculty and staff should be well trained to handle every situation that may arise, and I think we do a great job of it. Thank you.
Next question. What is the biggest challenge facing Cy-Fair ISD, and how will you, as a member of the board of trustees, help Cy-Fair ISD in meeting that challenge? Mr. Ogletree?
I believe the biggest challenge that faces our district as we continue to grow is to continue to adjust to the changing demographic that we have in our district. Bob has alluded to the diversity that we have in our district, and we now are at, along with the diversity in our district, we're now about 50% low socioeconomic students, which brings quite an array of challenges to our district, and we have to be prepared for that. I believe my role as a board member is to continue to work with, make suggestions back our administration, and making sure that our staff is well trained, that we hire the skilled people who know how to and are willing to work with a diverse student body, and I think we can get that done.
Mr. Ryan?
Thank you. I think it's a couple of things. One, and John alluded to the first one, it's changing demographics, but it's also our growth. We are growing. We're still the fastest growing district in the state of Texas. And with growth, I'm not just referring to, we're going to have to build buildings. I'm not just talking about that. We have to build our infrastructure. We have to increase our technology. Our technology is behind on, as I visit campuses. That's the number one thing I hear, is that we're light years behind in technology. And then when you talk about, I wish this was longer than a minute. When you talk about our changing demographics, we're doing some great things with that. And when our fastest growing segment of the population is our Hispanic population, and then you look at our new arrival centers and the success we're having there, we are dominating with the new arrival centers. We're doing great things. Kids that go in our new arrival centers that have been in there, they have a 94.2% graduation rate, and they came here not speaking a word of English. To me, that's amazing.
Mr. Ahmed.
Our minority students are growing. It is not the same it used to be 25 years ago when I went to schools. Children of poverty are growing in this district. We have issues that, as we are the educators, and especially the teachers in the classroom, we are what's called the in loco parentis, the parents in the absence of parents. So it's not just teaching the books, but we have to also, there are students who need more extra love and care besides just the book knowledge. And we're going to have to, that's going to be a challenge for us to see how we deal with those children of poverty. And that's growing. Classroom sizes are larger. We need to make sure we try to give as many one-on-one attention as possible. So that's another challenge. As the numbers of population grows, we're going to have to deal with that, how we can give individualized attention to those individuals. Thank you.
Mr. Covey.
Everybody stated something that is going to be a definite challenge, and it's not only our diversity and it's not only economically disadvantaged, but it's also the retention of our teachers, our high-quality teachers, and it's the attraction of new teachers. And we have to look at that and work with a balanced budget so that we don't fall behind other people within this area attracting our teachers and taking our good ones with us. And I also feel like that there's a definite need out there for more volunteers in our schools as our kids have more and more problems. It would be really great to have the community, even though we have so many volunteers, something like 18,000 volunteers that work an amazing amount of hours, we're going to need more because we're seeing kids with more and more challenges that are coming into our district. Thank you.
How do you balance fiscal conservatism with the need for a competitive teacher salary? Mr. Ryan?
First and foremost, I think that our board has always presented to the administration that we want a balanced budget, but we also know that a majority of the taxpayers in our district, they don't have kids in school. Their big concern are their taxes, their optional homestead exemption that for 13 years we voted to keep it. A lot of that falls, I think, on the administration because they've come to us, for the 13 years I've been on the board, they've come to us every year and recommended that we don't take away the optional homestead exemption because they felt that they've been able to balance the budget and in several of those years give pay raises for our employees. So I really think it's a matter of balance, but we have two key players in our district. One are the students and one are the taxpayers, and we have to have an equal balance between those two to help us meet our goals.
Mr. Ahmed?
Teachers are the mainstay of what's going on in the classroom. To expect the best, we must also give them the best. Our teachers are not the highest in Texas, not even in Region 4. And that's something we need to, if we expect the best from them, we have to give them the best. And of course, I was a teacher myself, and so I know there are teachers who go way beyond 5 o'clock and 7 o'clock. Just like Mr. Kobe said, his wife comes in home doing extra work. So yes, they need to be receiving the highest paid salary in this area. Thank you.
Let me correct that one statement. She comes home and works on me. She wasn't bringing extra work in. One of the things that we as a board have always stressed is a balanced budget. And there were times, and the teachers know this, and I've said this before, it was very hard to go home and say, there's no way we can do a raise this year because we're having to cut the budget X amount of $1 million. The good thing is that our superintendent at that point in time actually could foresee that we were going to have some real negatives coming our direction. So the board was able to prepare. And we were able to explain to the teachers, and they actually supported us. Some of them had to leave, but I understand that. But they also knew that as soon as we turned that corner and we could give a raise, we would. And we've done that for the past 2 years, and hopefully we will again. But I'll tell you another thing that we have to be careful of, and that is the media negativity about teaching and about the public education in general. And I'm really tired of hearing media with negative stories about teachers that are not teaching and that students that are not learning because they're trying to privatize education, and that's a negative.
Mr. Ogletree.
This district has a proud history of educational excellence, and we would never be able to achieve that without the teachers that are in the classroom. I do not think that it is going against conservative values to pay those who are doing the work and doing an excellent job at what they do. So we can balance that. We can look at other things when that need occurs, but we need to make sure that the teachers are paid and that they get any raise that we can give them. And that's why I voted for the raises in the face of opposition.
On the same topic of salaries, a recent article published, there's that media again, the recent article published salaries of local coaches. What are your thoughts about salaries paid to some of our coaches? Mr. Ahmed.
Well, extracurricular activities are essential. Research shows that students who participate in extracurricular activities also do better in academics. So we have to support extracurricular activities. I was a player. I played football and soccer when I was in high school, and I was a coach for football and soccer as well. And I saw the students who came and worked after school, they did better in grades than those who didn't. So we must support extracurricular activities and do the best we can to support every staff and retain the best. Because best will produce the best. Thank you.
Mr. Covey.
Well, you can probably look at me and tell I wasn't a real good football player. So, but I do believe that extracurricular is extremely important. In fact, one of the number of factoids that I've seen is that we have over 41,206 students that participate in athletics. We have another 80,000 that participate in fine arts. That's saying something about the district. Now, should coaches be paid a lot more than teachers? That's a very difficult question to answer. I feel like if it was all possible, we would raise teachers' salary even more than what we have seen and what we have planned. But I also realize a lot of the stress and the factors that are put on coaches. And I understand a community wants their teams and their kids to win. And that's just kind of the American way. And it's not something that I'm against, but I would also like to see us be able to push up teachers' salaries more.
Mr. Ogletree.
I agree, teachers should be paid more, but I have no argument with what our coaches receive. Yesterday, as Don Ryan shared with us, his son was practicing football. Coaches do spend extra time. I've had 3 sons that played football in this district, and I know the long hours, but I know that they don't just teach X's and O's. They invest their time in the character and quality of those students. And I think that they deserve what they get paid.
Mr. Ryan.
Part of that is I will tell you, is somewhat misleading when you talk about there are some high dollar programs in the state of Texas that really their district is defined by their football team. Our district is defined by us. It's defined by our community. One thing I do want to point out, and Dr. Ogletree hit on it, is a majority of our coaches are teachers. A majority of our coaches receive a stipend for coaching sports, and trust me, that stipend is not that much. I personally think that stipend needs to be looked at. I've asked Dr. Henry, I want us to look at the stipend to see if we're competitive with other districts around us. These coaches make a huge impact. They made a huge impact on me growing up. They make a huge impact on our kids. They're one of the main people that lead them from childhood to adulthood, and our students learn so much through athletics. Real quick, I know I'm over. Our campus athletic coordinators, they're not just the head football coach. They work the budget, they work with water polo, they work with girls' teams, boys' teams. I mean, they have a lot on their plate, and I think that they're compensated adequately.
Our next question. What is your position on charter schools? Mr. Covey?
Am I first?
You are.
I don't actually see a need for charter schools. Every charter school that I have been through, even though they profess to be able to be more successful than public schools, they're able to choose and pick who goes to their schools. They're able to release people if they have any kind of a problem with a child acting out. They're able to release them if they are not meeting their requirements as far as academics. And what we see is a lot of our public schools get some of these kids back from charter and private schools right before testing, so that we have to put them in our group as opposed to them showing them up in theirs. So I don't see a need for charter schools. I think every child should be guaranteed a public school education.
Mr. Ogletree?
I am a strong advocate of public education. However, we do live in the United States of America. And just like there are private schools, there are charter schools. All the data, though, that I've read shows that charter schools are not delivering what our public schools, education schools are delivering. But I believe if a parent wants to send their child to a charter school or a private school, that is their option. But I am an advocate of public education.
Mr. Ryan?
You know, really, charter schools are nothing more than publicly funded private schools. I mean, that's what they are. A recent report that Stanford did showed that very few charter schools outperform public schools. Most actually do worse. You know, Bob and I went to a deal at the State School Board Association where they were showing these high-performing schools, and it took us about 5 minutes to realize these were high-performing schools because they picked the students that came into their school. Our teachers, our schools, we don't have a choice. It's like that Forrest Gump line. Life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. When our teachers walk into that classroom on day one, they never know what they're going to get. But you know what? They take what they have and they make it better. And they don't have a choice to say, I'm sorry, Billy's not cutting it. You need to find another charter school for him. We do more than those charter schools do.
Mr. Ahmed?
Definitely, we do more than what they do. However, charter school parents decide to take their child to the charter school. The charter school makes a contract with the parent. And usually there are all these policies and procedures that a child has to meet. If we have 2 disciplinary action or something like that, he's kicked out. So, because I studied charter schools as part of my dissertation. And so I learned, of course, everybody here is saying that, what they like, but charter schools, if a child does not perform according to the contract, he's going to get thrown out. That's what the ones that we have around us. And so I studied that charter school in particular. So it is a public funded school. So it's a choice that they're making. And if they think they're doing great, according to them, they have 100% graduation rate. That's according to the charter schools that they operate. But of course, their graduation rate and their dropout rate is not same as we have in our public school system. That's also public school, by the way. Thank you.
All right, this next question is a two-part question. What do you believe is the purpose of public schools? And as a board member, what are your thoughts on recognizing federal and state holidays on school signage? Mr. Ogletree?
The purpose of public schools is to ensure that every child in the community has the privilege of being educated, of giving them that ability to walk in to a local campus or campus in that community and to set his or her sights on achievement. And that is the benefit of our public schools, where students, parents did not have to pay or take special tests for them to get into a school. It is the American way, and it is why we have been so successful in this country.
Mr. Ryan?
Jason, could you, don't start the clock yet. Okay, thanks, Don. Could you, I'm confused, which I know, it doesn't happen that often. On the second part of the question, on signage?
On signage, what it's referring to, my understanding it'd be like marquees out front in the school, the billboards in front of the school. That's what I understand to be the...
To say something about a holiday?
What are your thoughts on recognizing federal and state holidays on school signage, on school marquees?
Okay. And then the first part was public education.
That's right.
Okay.
What do you believe is the purpose of public schools?
Okay. To me, this is fairly simple. The purpose of public schools is to educate every child that walks through that door. Let's be realistic. Every child that walks through that door isn't necessarily going to go to post-secondary education. I think in Cypher that we need to be sure that we enhance our career in technology for kids that want to go straight into the workforce. I had the opportunity to visit at Jersey Village High School and watch their advanced welding class, and it's amazing to watch what these kids are doing with a computer, welding, and then Principal Funk told me, he said, a lot of these kids are able to go right across the freeway on 529 and get jobs paying anywhere from $45 to $60 an hour right out of school. They don't have a desire to go to college, but we're providing them with the opportunity to make a living. Since most of these federal holidays, things like that, are historic events in our nation, I have no problem with signage unless y'all are talking about something that I don't even know what you're talking about. But as far as the federal holidays, most of them have to do with history. We're teaching that in the classroom. I have no problem with that being on our signage.
Mr. Ahmed?
First of all, we need to build relationship with our students. There is no significant learning without a significant relationships. When a relation has been established, the relevancy will be shown as we teach, so we get them hooked. Now we can rigor the curriculum. Now, so why? Because school is a microcosm of the macro world. So they need to understand and love education, the whole process, so they can become a self-dedicated, self-inspired, lifelong learners. So that's our goal. Our goal is to get them interested in learning. What they learn, yes, we know it doesn't have to be college. I mean, of course, it's great to send everybody to college, but some people are not going to go. It's the choice they make.
Mr. Covey?
Well, as far as public school education goes, it is to educate each and every student to the highest part of their potential. And I think that that's something that Cypher strives to do. Now, as far as the signage, the only thing I can think of is that recently our state legislature has allowed the schools to use the term Christmas as opposed to just holiday. And I'm glad that that's happened. I also understand the diversity within our district, and I think it's really great that if a school wants to recognize Christmas, then they can recognize Kwanzaa, they can recognize whatever they want, and allow these kids to basically have respect for their backgrounds. And I think that's great, but I also think we shouldn't take away what we have always practiced either. It should be part of our heritage. It is part of our heritage. It is part of our history, and it should be part of our future.
All right, our next question is, how have you volunteered your time to the district in the past, and how have you volunteered in the community lately? Mr. Ryan, we'll start with you.
Wow. Okay. I've always volunteered on, obviously, on my kids' campuses. I've volunteered as a youth coach within the Cypress Sports Association. I've served on committees within the Cypress Sports Association. I've been a reader in classrooms. Lately, most of my volunteering is serving on the school board. It takes a lot of time, and that's been most of my volunteering. I can tell you the most rewarding volunteer thing that I have ever done, and I don't mean to belittle school board service. It's been very rewarding. But there's nothing more rewarding than mentoring a child. I've done that. You have a one-on-one impact with the child. You develop a relationship, and it's something that now I kind of know how a teacher feels, because when you see that child grow personally, it's absolutely the most rewarding thing I've ever done. But I've mainly volunteered. I've also volunteered quite a bit in our community, but that's pretty much it for the most part.
Mr. Ahmed?
Right after graduating from high school, while I was at college, I remember coming back to Jersey Village High School and try to help the students who were in detention hall. I kept that for a while, kept on going for a while. And then, of course, it became more busier in life. And so currently I help with my daughter's school. She goes at Barks Elementary School. I volunteer. And Bear Creek Youth Group, Homeowners Association Group, I'm the treasurer and the vice president I was. Member of the Harris County Sheriff Office Incident Response Forum since 2010. And I also help out with the Cyfair Chamber of Commerce. I was a member 2011, 12. Thank you.
Mr. Covey?
Well, I kind of went through a lot of things that I've done as far as volunteering, and I volunteered basically all the way through when my kids were in school. And my wife and I always felt like that it was good for our kids to know that we knew the teachers, and we basically, they knew that we knew what they knew that we knew. So it was a good thing for us to do. I love volunteering in schools. One of my favorite things to do right now is to read to elementary schools, and I do that to two of them, to Sheridan and to Metcalf. I love going in there and reading to those kids. Elementary kids are a hoot. They're just so much fun, and there's nothing cuter than a pre-K kid. I had a pink shirt and tie on today, and one of them came by and grabbed it and told me he loved pink, and that was really cool. So I love doing that. I think that's great. I'm a member of the Chamber of Commerce, and I have participated in a number of their activities. As far as community-wise, I think pretty much working with the school district is our community. That's what we do.
Mr. Ogletree?
I think I've said it in a prior question of working in one of the task force for our district. Of course, I've had 4 children that have gone through Cypress schools, and I was, and my wife, very much active, as well as in the Sports Association. I even had a short stint of teaching basketball, which I really was not a very good coach. But also what I've tried to do is, as far as volunteerism, is encourage the members of my church, and we are active in 2 of our schools. And also, I've also set up a volunteer network in the summer where we actually, as a part of our summer camp program, we do academic work. And so while I'm busy in the school district, I've also tried to get an army of volunteers to do some things much more than I can do.
Thank you. This question is specifically for Mr. Ahmed. You have mentioned several times that you want to initiate special programs for the bottom third of the students who are not adequately progressing in school. A board member is limited to supporting policy, so will you be able to separate the program policy divide?
Okay, of course, as Mr. Covey said earlier, we do not micromanage, but I will support, and if the idea is if, let's of course, the superintendent doesn't want me to help him how to do his job. But when I say helping the bottom, if you look around, I taught at Waco ISD, and over there, we had children of generational poverty, and we partnered with the Baylor University students, and they would come to our campus, and let's say a teacher who has a large classroom would have 2 or 3 of those college students come in and help the teacher with those students in individual attention. And these are the kids who are in need of help. So an example would be like, we partnered with, let's say, U of H or TSU, and with the College of Education students, whether it be a paid position or a volunteer position, let them come into our classrooms and try to give those students extra help. And so they can relate to those students, because some classes are big, and the teachers' ratio to the students is a large number, and those kids need help, extra help. So that would be one of the idea of that program, one of the programs that I would think we should be doing.
Okay, thank you. This next question is directed specifically to Mr. Ogletree, Mr. Ryan, and Mr. Covey, and we'll start with you, Mr. Covey.
Oh, okay.
What do you consider to be your greatest accomplishment as a board member?
Ooh. Well, I can't really take credit for individual things, but I will tell you that I'm extremely proud of this board because we've done a number of things in the past couple of years. We have completely redone policy and procedure for the board, which had not been addressed for 10 or 12 years. We also 100% agreed to visit each and every facility within our district, and that has been extremely successful because it's been able to give us a little bit more information when we're making decisions as to being able to actually go in and see what's happening in these schools. And it's also been invigorating for us as board members to see what is being accomplished, and it's so exciting. And I'll also tell you that we just recently redid the vision statement, and I'm very proud. As I said the other night, this is a vision statement that I've actually memorized. The other one was a little bit long, and I had trouble with that. But this one, as teachers know, acronyms are our favorite, and LEAD is our acronym, and it's Learn, Empower, Achieve, Dream. And I think that is a perfect motto for us as board members.
Mr. Ogletree.
Being on the board is a team effort, but I will tell you this. I was taught in my early training as a board member that the most important decision that a board could make is to hire a superintendent. I've had the experience of being on 2 superintendent searches. I was on the board, the team that brought Dr. David Anthony, and we made the right decision. He was the right man for the job as we went through funding shortages, having to cut drastically our budget, and as we also went through growth and demographic changes. And also, I served as president of the board when we brought on our newest superintendent, Dr. Mark Henry, and I think that we made an excellent choice. So if I had to say anything, I did serve on 2 superintendent searches.
Mr. Ryan.
I'm gonna agree with John because he and I both served on those superintendent searches, except they were both very different searches. With the first search, we had a very cohesive board, and David was the exact opposite of Rick Berry, who was serving as our superintendent at the time, and we almost shocked Dr. Moses when we said we want David Anthony, but he was perfect for the job. And that's the most important thing as a board. When we hire an effective leader, we know that the goals of the district are going to be met and that student achievement is going to go up. The great thing, and I think probably the most, I guess it wasn't a difficult hire, but was that we were the most worried about at the time was when we hired Dr. Henry, we had a board that was divided. And the reason we hired Dr. Henry is Dr. Henry has had great success. He had it in Galena Park ISD on working with kids that were economically disadvantaged, and we saw that's where our population was going. We had the vision to see what we were about to face as a board. What made the vote so remarkable is that at that time, we were a 4-3 board, but we voted 7-0 to bring Dr. Henry to the district. And I think that says a lot about his character and what he's going to accomplish as our leader. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, gentlemen, we have reached the end of the question and answer portion of tonight's forum. So congratulations. Thank you for making it to this point, but we're not done yet. You each will now have 3 months, wow. Please no. 3 minutes. 3 minutes to have closing remarks, and we'll start in reverse order of how I introduced you. And so, Mr. Covey, you will go first.
Jason, thank you for monitoring with us tonight. Was that what you did? You monitored? And I did say something negative about the media, so I apologize specifically to you. I want to thank everyone again for coming, and especially to all of you that actually stayed. I am now and have been most honored to have had the opportunity to serve the Board of Trustees for this district that has such a stellar reputation within the state, throughout the nation. I am even more proud of this district is not satisfied with just status quo, but continues to push and evolve and change to address the unknown, educating students for a future that research indicates 25% of the jobs that will be available in 2025 have not even been developed yet. I am proud of this district that it's taken on a theme of find a way. I am proud that they took on the vision last year of the power of one. They both go together. I feel both of these are challenging and yet optimistic, and that there is a hope for the future, and our students are that hope for the future. I think my feeling is one of the strongest things that we have to address is a misinformation that is being put out there by the media. Again, I take that, not you. You do a great job. But the national media has an affinity for downgrading public education, and I'm really tired of it. I am tired of teachers being disrespected because they should not be. I know when I went to school, a teacher basically was the most respected person in the community. And I find it very sad that we've come to this point, and I hope that Cy-Fair can be the leader in bringing the respect back to teachers in their field. And that respect goes on and transcends into the administration, the support staff. I'm telling you what, our bus drivers, I did bus buddies, I don't know how they do it. And the cafeteria workers and the custodial workers, they're all phenomenal. And I just want to thank you for being here. I'm asking for your vote. You don't have much of a choice, but I'm asking for it anyway. And I appreciate you supporting Cy-Fair District. Thank you.
Mr. Ahmed.
Cy-Fair ISD is ranked as one of the top districts in the state. We will help pioneer for the state of Texas, implementing new programs to help flourish the bottom 30% of our students, raising Texas's national average. In addition, Cy-Fair ISD teachers have not been receiving the highest salary in Region 4. Teachers are the mainstay in making the difference in a student's life. Excellent teachers need to be well compensated. I have been the co-founder and executive director of NW Cypress Pediatrics and Family Medicine, and as an adjunct faculty at Lone Star College. From my experience, I've learned that students, every child deserves the best. And our goal is to make sure every child is going to receive the best. And we're going to do all it takes to provide the best. Extraordinary people make extraordinary things happen. and we got great people in this district. As I was walking through, I ran into Miss Hardy, back then the associate principal, who helped me write my essay to the United States Coast Guard Academy, and my memory went through. And I remembered it was hard. Every day we went and we literally worked on the application for 3 weeks to 4 weeks in a row. And this is the type of caring, loving people we have in this district, and we should do it again for every child. The law says no child left behind, and every child is going to have a great opportunity for success in this district. Thank you for your coming and attention, and please pass the word out that I'm here for all students. And I've been endorsed by the Cypher AFT Teachers Union as their candidate of choice, and I'm very proud of that. And I'm here for every student. And as you know, I've been a classroom teacher, a coach, a school level principal, and a superintendent for a district level. So I know what it takes to see from a different point of view some of the issues they may not look at. So thank you so much again. I appreciate you coming here this evening. And thank you, Jason. And Coach Edwards.
Mr. Ryan.
Thank you, Jason, and thank you all for coming out tonight. As I look back on the 13 years that I've served, we went from a board in 2002 that was Board of the Year to a board probably, I'd say in 2009 that was not even Board of the Day. But we've overcome a lot in our district. We really have. Our teachers are not the highest paid, and Bob hinted to that earlier, and that is because we only have so many funds that are allocated to us. It's not economically possible to say we're going to pay our teachers the highest in the state, we're going to cut their insurance in half, and then we're going to add 350 new positions in the classroom. There's not enough money in the bucket for that to happen. But what I think we've done and what I think I've done, and I'm not being boastful here, is that I've been a good steward in making decisions with the money that has been entrusted to us. So I think a couple of the differences between Dr. Ahmed and I, and this is not a slam on him, is his focus. A lot of it is on the bottom 30% and using extra funds for the bottom 30%. Folks, I don't know how to tell you this. There are no extra funds. We're going to get more funds next year, but that's the way percentages work. There's always going to be a bottom 30%. My goal as I've been on the board is to focus on 100% of the students. And our administration focuses on 100% of the students. Last night at our board meeting, we voted on our district improvement plan. We have tons of parents that feel like their kids are in the middle. What are you doing for my kids? I hear about the kids at the bottom, the kids at the top, and I feel like I'm trapped in the middle. If you look at our district improvement plan, we have specific goals and tasks in place for our gifted and talented, for our kids in the middle, where we're going to be looking at smaller classrooms to try to get them up to the top, and then also for our kids that are economically disadvantaged to where we can have smaller classrooms for them. So we're, as a board collectively and as a district collectively, we are setting standards to where we will meet the need of every child in our district. I've enjoyed serving this community, serving on the board, and I can assure you, regardless of the outcome of this election, I'm still going to serve. It's the way I was raised. It's who I am. I would appreciate your vote. I really want to continue serving, and I thank you for the 13 years that you've entrusted me with your children, with your jobs, and with your tax dollars. Thank you very much. It means the world to me.
I want to thank our moderator and for all of you who have attended tonight. I want to tell you again, I really count it as a privilege to serve as a member of the school board in this great district. This year, the theme is Find a Way. And one of the reasons why I love what I do as a member of the school board is because from our superintendent to all the assistant and associate superintendents to every principal, every AP, every counselor, every DI, every teacher that I have met, they believe that every student can achieve. Every student can make it. Every student deserves a quality education. I like being in that environment. I like serving with these board members because they believe that too. And every vote that I make, it is toward that end. Every time I read, every time I review facts and figures, it's with that one goal in mind. And as long as we serve as a team of 8, along with Dr. Henry, and as long as I can walk into a school and sense that atmosphere and sense that drive in a teacher and a principal and the staff there, I want to be a part of it. I believe that we can achieve even more than what we have achieved so far, and I'm willing to work toward that goal. I thank you for your past support, and I appreciate your prayers and support as we go forward. Thank you.
Well, gentlemen, it's been a pleasure to serve as your moderator this evening. I don't recall the time I've received as many thank yous, so thank you right back to you for your the time that you have committed to get to this point as part of the campaign, and for your time and your accessibility this evening as part of this forum. And on behalf of the Cypress-Fairbanks Independent School District and the residents within this community, thank you for your willingness to step forward and volunteer for the position as Board of Trustees. I want to wish each of you best of luck in your campaign, and for those in attendance this evening, please remind your friends and your neighbors to get out and vote. And it's important to cast their votes and be a part of this campaign. And vote before November 5th, because early voting begins this coming Monday, the 21st, and have a safe trip home and have a great night. Thank you.